New Jersey is currently facing a teacher shortage around the state. One of the problems is that people are less interested in becoming teachers at all. The interest has decreased 30% in the past 10 years. Christopher Morphew, the Dean of the Johns Hopkins School of Education, states, "It is not reasonable to ask a teacher to take on $40,000 worth in debt and then go teach for $40,000 or less annually, which is what the starting salary in most states is." We asked a couple of teachers why they continue to follow the path of teaching.
One word to describe being a teacher is fun. Every day is different. Time goes by so quick.
Dynamic. It's always changing, and there's a lot of components to it. You just have to be flexible as a teacher to be able to cope with the constant changes.
I want to say satisfying, knowing that I have a job where that I can educate students not only in content, but also the real world, makes me feel satisfied.
A teacher needs to be able to come into an environment. It's unknown every single day. You have so many different human beings in the room, and they're reacting to their life in different ways every single day. So a teacher needs to be able to adapt, to comfort, to guide, and to facilitate the lesson so that they can learn.
There is a lot of work and pressure to be a teacher because the difficult things are evolving with society.
I think with the COVID years, there was a lot of pressure being a teacher when nobody really knew what was being effective. So in terms of feeling pressured now that we're back to normal, I have no pressure. I enjoy coming every day.
There's a lot of different kind of bosses that we have as teachers, between administrators, students, parents. Like, there's so many people that are kind of pulling you in different directions.
I see my students as my kids, my family, and I want to see the best for them. Sometimes when you don't see them progressing or growing in the way that you want them to, you get nervous because you don't want to fail them. I feel that every single teacher sets up a goal, even if it's personal or if it's professional. We do have our professional goals that the district or the state of New Jersey wants us to do, but we individually have our own personal goals.
In my head, I try to organize things and I set those goals. When I don't accomplish them, I become a little bit, how can I say, hard on myself. Like, think of a sport. When you play a sport, when you know you didn't do well, you go back and where did I go wrong?
We want students to really be able to learn and enjoy what they're learning, and to really see usefulness behind the skills that we're trying to teach them in the class.
You know, I could speak on behalf of some other math teachers this year going into it. They wanted to make their class the class that everybody enjoys coming to. It's our goal to make them enjoy it.
I go back and I think, how can I make it better? How can they grasp that information? How can I make it fun for them? To me, that's an accomplishment.
I think I became a teacher for my love of working with students. I think kind of being a good role model is why I became a teacher.
It was definitely the love to reach out to students and inspire them. It really brings me joy, and it brings me back to why I wanted to become a teacher.
It was a love that I had and a passion that I had. So that's when I knew. It was all aspects together that brought me here at PCTI too, so.
My method of teaching, my philosophy is that if someone could teach somebody something else, they'll remember it forever. So I try to build collaboration, talking to each other. It's all about having fun. And I think if you're having fun, you're learning it. And the goal there is to let students not even realize they're learning.
Using some of my personal life, I feel that that's a great strategy, because then they can understand that I'm just not a teacher, I'm also a human being. I was a teenager at one time in my life. I was a child. I was like them.
My method is to get to know that person in the classroom. They need to see me as a person too, just trying to get to know them. And I think that when you develop that bond over a few weeks or maybe a month or two, that's when you can capture them. And when you capture them, they appreciate you as a human being, and you appreciate them as a human being. And so that's where learning can really happen.
The moment that made me realize that I was doing good is when my students graduate, or if my student says thank you. And thank you for the grade. I tell them, no, you have to thank yourself for that grade because you did it yourself.
It's the moment where kids come up to me and they start to talk to me. They see me as someone who is there to help them. They don't see me as a threat. They see me as someone that they can confide in. So when I see that in them towards me, it gives me a purpose.
Every day is a heartwarming memory. It's great. When your students come back and talk to you, that's what it's all about. When they say, I really like something you did in class, I really liked you as a person, that's what teaching's all about.
Those were the times where I felt happy and good about it. It's them, not me, it's them.
Teachers had a difficult time doing their jobs during the pandemic, mainly because of the disconnection between them and their students. 74% of educators were dissatisfied with their jobs in June of 2021, according to National Union surveys. This graph proves that 2020 to 2021 was the year that teachers retired the most. Some even stated that they didn't expect to retire so soon. Lastly, according to NJ Spotlight News, 7 years ago, almost 5 people completed the teacher preparation for every 1,000 students. Now, there are barely 2. New Jersey is currently facing a teacher shortage. That's why it's important to recognize your teachers and let them know that you appreciate them. Next time you see your teachers, think of this documentary.